Yeah. Welcome.
That was loud.
That was loud.
That was so aggressive.
Dog, damn.
You're like Donald Trump with the aggression, man.
I just like to say it's time to do the classic report.
What is he does
What is this?
What's with the?
I don't know. It's like, was it? Maybe it was a conductor
in a
in
past
like school.
life.
He's like,
I
pixie dust.
I have a theory that Donald Trump was molested
You think so?
yesterday. So, all right, go ahead. Sorry, classic
You
report.
never know. It could have happened. My father. So today, on the chop up, you really fucked me up right there. Now I can think of like Trump getting molested. He deserves it. He deserves it. Yeah.
Time.
We're gonna be
news,
talking
fake
about
news.
A Tribe Called Quest, Midnight Marauders, one of my favorite all-time LPs. Rest in peace to Phife Dawg, one of the best. This album was released November 9th, 1993. Can you believe that? 1993 on Jive Records. If anybody can remember Jive Records, even Britney Spears was signed to Jive Records.
Oh shit, son!
Yeah.
It was big back in the
I did it again.
There is a Tribe Called Quest remix to that.
With Britney Spears?
Yes.
Please don't ever say that. I will scratch the shit out of that vinyl.
All right, go ahead.
That was the third album release from the group, the trio, on Jive Records. A few favorite tracks of mine was "Oh My God," "Electric Relaxation," "8 Million Stories," which was just off the wall, and "The Chase Part 2." They had a sample from Biz Markie in there at the beginning. Ultimately, that album for me reigns supreme because I have it on vinyl, I have it on cassette, I have it on CD, digital download, Apple iTunes, Spotify. In my brain, it's probably in my shoe. I rate that album a 400 out of 10 just because there's just so much meaning and heartfelt behind that album. I think that was the album for me from A Tribe Called Quest that they sounded like a collective because they went through some bullshit.
Yeah.
If you ever watched that documentary movie that they put out,
No, I haven't seen it.
oh, you need to watch that. They went through some shit like Q-Tip and Phife. There was times where they didn't even talk to each other.
Yeah.
So the last album that they put out was a surprise to me because they hadn't put out music for a long time. And then the Love Movement, which was supposed to be their last album, it was a white album.
I remember that album.
I
like that album.
I like that album. And it's funny because now that I revisit a lot of their older albums that I didn't fuck with, like Beats, Rhymes, and Life, when Jay Dilla, the Uma, they were coming into that whole sound, and then Consequence, Q-Tip's cousin, came on board.
Yeah.
I wasn't really liking that whole sound because we were used to like that boom bap, that darker sound, this sound,
Midnight Marauders
and Low End Theory.
Low End Theory, yeah.
So those two albums for me was the Tribe sound. And then that album came out, I was like, yo, this is
Totally
kind of
switched it
fucking
up.
weird, right?
Yeah.
It was more happy, a little bit more bubbly sounding. But to tell you the truth, those albums became some of my favorites.
The later ones.
The later ones.
Yeah.
But it will never top Midnight Marauders. So 400 and some odd out of 10 for me.
So
Ultimate
that's
classic.
The second album.
That's the third album.
The third
Third album.
album.
Yeah, that's the third album. I got it on vinyl because I just felt I've always wanted to have it as a part of my collection. So I went down to Sonic Boom. Shout out to Sonic Boom. Sonic Boom at Spadina and Sullivan. They have a great selection of vinyl CDs.
Free advertisement.
I'm telling you, man. Well, I'm just saying, man. Like,
Should sponsor you.
Yeah.
Since you shop there.
yeah, you better give me more.
bag,
You better
nigga.
give me a more KS sponsor. But
I'll give you a gift
400.
card.
So, what do you guys think about the album? Did you get a chance to listen to it, take it in, smell it, sniff it, love it,
Yeah,
hate
I've
it?
listened to a few tracks. I want to know, like, Phife, what was his deal? Like, was he a drug,
No, he had diabetes.
Diabetes?
Yeah, he died from diabetes. He was fighting it for a long time throughout the group, and he concealed it. But there was a song.
At 8 million,
There was a song
he
that
went
said
to- talking to him.
something about when's the last time you heard a funky diabetic?
Yeah.
And that he actually puts it
says
in
out
a
there.
song.
Yeah, he puts it out
Yeah,
there.
he puts it in a song, and even back then, I still didn't catch it.
Yeah.
Because you know, at that time, like you weren't exposed to people having diabetes and shit. So
You're fucking younger. You don't even know what the fuck that is.
yeah, it's like Diahootie, like what?
Pass the lollipops.
Yeah,
and the Jolly
yeah,
Ranchers and
exactly.
Yeah.
So, and then there was times where he was on stage and he had no energy. He was losing weight, and then he was going into to get treatment and everything, but he was still touring. And then there was a time where he couldn't even be on tour because he was so tired. So
shit, rest in peace.
Yeah,
right?
rest in peace, Phife Dawg. He was super young. And Jay Dilla, Jay Dilla being a part of the Tribe journey as well from Slum Village, he passed away from lupus. So it's like a lot of the greats pass away from natural causes. A lot of people like, oh, that nigga got shot. Like fuck, man. Black people die naturally too. God damn it. Like it's not always people getting shot. Like sometimes it is a tragic moment.
Actually,
like people
is one of the highest.
In the black community in the U.S. especially,
yeah, that shit takes us out.
Yeah. So
that was actually my first time. Probably gonna get crucified for this.
No, it's cool.
That was my first time listening to that album.
Well, okay.
Yeah, and
how old are you?
I know it's bad. I'm 34, but it was fucked up because I really didn't know. You know what? I expected it to sound like the later albums, like the Love Movement and shit. And when I listened to the album, I'm like, this shit is fucking hard. And if I'm being totally honest, because I know like people hold that album in such high regard.
Yes.
So I wanted it to be like just some biased hip hop, natural purists that are like, oh, it's amazing just because you're 1,000 years old type of shit. Right. So when I was listening to the album, I was waiting for every single song. I'm like, okay, this song was dope. The next one, please be shit. Be shit.
You wanted it to be shit.
I wanted it to be literally every single. The production is so fucking dope. Oh my God. Like, listen, if you have not heard this album, don't be like me. Learn from my mistake. Go listen to this album right now. The production is amazing. And you know what else too? Phife Dawg can rap.
He can.
Phife Dawg can rap. Phife Dawg can rap.
Track. 8 million track?
8 million stories? Yeah.
Like when I was I knew Q-Tip was gonna do his thing.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, I wonder if Phife Dawg's just gonna be like, like you always have like the main nigga in the group.
It's like Busta Rhymes on LONS. Like,
yes.
Everybody else kind of laid back in the cut.
So that's what I thought. I thought Q was gonna carry this shit, but no, Phife could rap. So I was really surprised about the whole album. There's punchlines in it. Didn't expect that.
Yeah, and Phife really came out of his element on this. Like he was really shining through on this album.
Yeah.
The first album, like from Tribe, you don't even really hear from Phife.
That's what I heard.
Like there's like
that's what I heard. Yeah.
I think Phife was I don't even know how many songs were on the first album, but you very rarely heard Phife's voice. And then the second album, Low End Theory, that's when Phife starts creeping in here and there, like on Bugging Out, and we got the jazz and all those tracks. Then this album, all of a sudden, it's like he blossomed. But Q-Tip was always fucking with Phife, saying you need to get your verses written.
Yeah.
You need to get in the studio and write your verses. Like, what the fuck? Like, I have.
What was he freestyling?
No, he was writing his shit.
Oh,
but like,
okay,
but Q was always like, "Yo, let's go, let's move." Like,
he just wasn't.
Yeah,
working,
like,
basically.
but you got to understand too. Like, Phife, on the other hand, was a huge basketball fan, so he always wanted to fuck with like coaching basketball teams, like high school basketball.
Sounds like hip hop wasn't his first love.
Well, he loved hip hop to death.
Sounds
but
like he got pushed into this.
No, Q-Tip and him were best friends. And if you watch the documentary, everybody out there, it's on Netflix.
I'll check it out.
I have it on DVD.
It's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix.
For sure. I'll
yeah.
check it out.
And Q-Tip was the one who encouraged Phife to come aboard and rap. That's why on the first album you don't really hear too much from Phife, because he wasn't as confident as he wanted to be. So on the second album, it was like, we need more verses from Phife. Like, we need to get this nigga like rapping now. Like, let's go.
And
then the third album, all of a sudden, it was like, hey, yo, swing, 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 and chop, chop, chop.
Yeah.
It's like Phife all of a sudden was like this amazing MC. Like, I always knew he was an amazing MC, but he just came out of nowhere and it's like, whoa. Like the Scenario track, like all these songs that were just retardedly amazing. Sorry, I'm going to retract that word because I hate that word.
Retardedly?
Yeah, I don't like that word.
I don't even know if that's a word.
But no, like Phife just really blossomed as an MC on that album, and I have so much mad respect. I learned a lot from him just to build my own flow and cadence. And
just to kind of to speak on that, or rather just to grade it, I'm going to give it a 10.
Okay.
I'm going to give it a 10. Like, and again, I encourage everyone to go out and listen to that, because at the end of the day, if it's going to do anything for you, it may just inspire you to just, if you're an artist, it may inspire you to be a little bit more creative with your body of work. One thing that I really enjoyed about the album is that kind of like radio, that woman voice.
Yeah.
She's spread out throughout the
little interlude and
that was sick. Like the whole classic is all I'm saying.
Definitely.
The production was really great. I was mostly listening to, because I didn't listen to the lyrics. I was not too into that, but the jazzy, like they have a little jazz.
Yeah, they love the jazz, the jazz sound. Yeah, definitely.
It's a really nice vibe, and I would rate it like 9, 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
From the tracks that I've listened to.
Yeah,
I liked it.
And it's funny for you that you listened to the Love Movement, their second last album. Yeah. And you didn't go backwards and listen to the stuff before. Not hating on you for that. I'm just surprised that the Love Movement was that album that didn't say, oh shit,
maybe I should go back.
I have Apple Music. Yo, I have Apple Music and I can just download this shit.
You know how many times I faked conversations where people are having these in-depth conversations about Tribe Called Quest?
Yeah.
And the main conversation is Low End Theory or the Midnight Marauders. Like, which one is the better album? And I'm sitting there in the conversation faking the funk like I know what the fuck I'm talking about.
You can't do that.
But I haven't heard shit, but I will definitely now. So what you're saying?
Have you heard the Low End Theory though?
No. So so what you're saying is production wise, this is similar to that.
Low End Theory was a little bit deeper. Low End Theory was more of that album when they came out. It actually threw the record label for a loop because their first album was more Afrocentric because they're part of the Native Tongues. Mm-hmm. So the Native Tongues consisted of like Black Sheep, Jungle Brothers. You had LONS in there. You had Queen Latifah was affiliated with them. It was like a sound. It was a movement. Yeah. You had a Tribe Called Quest. You had De La Soul. So all of those as a collective made up the Native Tongues. And the Native Tongues stood for people, like they created their own sound and their own dialogue.
Is there going to be a test on this tomorrow?
No. I know. Like I said, hip hop historian. So the Native Tongue
points for my name.
I know, right? Oh, then you had like Moni Love in there.
Yeah.
But the Native Tongue family consisted of all these groups and crews, and they created this sound, like this distinctive sound that nobody in hip hop was doing. Because at that time in the 80s, like the late 80s, when Tribe and De La jumped off, it was all gangster rap. Like there was still Big Daddy Kane and there was Cool G rap, but then that's when NWA started popping.
They were
and
killing
Eazy-E, you had MC8, like you had all these like, you know, straight out of Compton, and then you had these dudes over in the East Coast coming from like Staten Island and all these areas of like the East Coast doing this hippie rap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because when Tribe came out, they were in De La Soul. They were wearing the African medallions, and Jungle Brothers
very non-threatening.
Yeah, they were wearing dashikis and shit. And then when that first album popped, and then they put out the Low End Theory, the label was like, "Oh shit! Like, what is this? This is so left from what they were doing before because they were Afrocentric. Now they're doing all this jazzy, deep bass with, you know, heavy boom bap drums. Totally different. So the label was scared. They were terrified.
I don't know if you know this, but is their production similar to like a, you know, like the Roots? They have a live band. Is that like?
It's a similar sound, but the Roots.
But it's not a live band.
It's not a live band. Like the Roots, when they came up with their "Do You Want More," that album like set the bar for hip hop because that was all live instrumentation.
You know what I would love to see, and not to you'll close off your segment when you close it, but I would love to see a Toronto rapper hard R.
I want to see one of them there Toronto rappers.
I'd love to see a Toronto rapper come out. I don't care if you want to spit gangster shit or whatever you want to do, but I'd love to see a Toronto rapper come out with a live band.
There has been
doing their production.
There has been Pocket Dwellers, Nigel Williams. There has been. They're still doing music. Shout out to Nigel Williams and Pocket Dwellers, Sheldon Moore, Durham region in the house, just shouting them out. Nigel Williams is dope.
That's not
if you don't know who the Pocket Dwellers are, I think it's Pocket Dwellers.
Durham?
Dwellers is DWELLAZ. Pocket Dwellers.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, they do all live music, but they have
That's
a horn.
dope.
They have horns, but Sheldon Moore is on the cuts, the ones and twos.
That's good.
He's a super producer. He has a studio. Fucking dope. Yeah. So yeah, there is. You can look them up. They do shows and shit. Yeah,
I'll check
super
that
dope.
shit out.
Super duper dope. But yo, I just want to say that's the Classic Report. A Tribe Called Quest, Midnight Marauders. You can get it on Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, all of that shit. Please listen to it. Let us know how you feel about the album. 400 out of 10. That's my baby right there.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10, yay.